Hello, hello, everyone. Let's give it another 30
Hello.
seconds. Okay, great. So let's get the last people in. And of course, if more people join during the webinar, that's great as well. But I think we can get started, right, ladies?
I think so.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, amazing. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this exclusive behind the scenes look at how Lenovo is transforming the shopping journey through the power of video commerce and live shopping. This is actually the first webinar I've been to where we have four female speakers, so that's I think something to point out. The four of us, have our kind of weekly touch base, and we're always having a lot of fun. So we thought we'd just, invite you people to join us for this one, and kind of really get the behind the scene look at how we're executing our the video commerce strategy. And we're extremely excited to be hosting this session in partnership with Jessica and Jen from the Lenovo team. Who will share with us how interactive and shoppable live streams are not only boosting engagements, but also driving meaningful business results. And whether you're curious about how to bring video into your own digital strategy or simply want to understand what's fueling the next generation of e-commerce, you're in the right place. During the next hour or so, we'll dive into Lenovo's live commerce playbook, from what inspired their video first approach to how they're using in-house ambassadors as well as outside content creators, combined with advanced technology from buywith, and of course a great content strategy in order to educate shoppers and accelerate conversions. You'll hear about their lessons learned, real results, and practical tips. And we will also take your questions live at the end. So stay tuned and get ready for an engaging conversation. Um, and before we start, we wanted to show you a really short video just to give you a sneak peek on some of the great moments from the past 6, 7 months of live shopping with Lenovo.
All right. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Great.
At the screen and the color is just absolutely wonderful.
32 gigs of RAM on it. It has 1 terabyte of storage on here. The 18-inch display is crazy, man.
It's got the rainbow RGB backlit keyboard.
So it is plugged in, everyone. Look how cute this looks.
Love the tint mode. So that way I can just, pop it on my lap. How good the color is, how smooth the picture is.
So I really like the size of this. It's also very portable. You put it here across the country.
You've got your volume up and down, and it is just great.
It's really great for videos, especially in 4K resolution.
Thank you, Carissa, for helping us with the video. Well done. So, time for some introductions. For those who don't know me, I'm Yael Kochman. I'm the Chief Business Officer here at buywith. And as I said, I have three amazing speakers with me today. So, Jen, let's start with you if you want to quickly introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. My name is Jen Sicosio. I am a global marketing technologist at Lenovo. I sit on the worldwide e-commerce team, so supporting Jessica and team on the North America team. So I'll kick it over to her.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica. Very, very excited to be here today. I My title doesn't match what I do. So I'm just going to go with what I do. We'll say I'm the consumer segment lead for NorthAmerica.com. So I handle everything that is reaching out to consumers directly on the website.
And then
Awesome.
some more. And Carissa.
Yeah, super excited to be here as well. My name is Carissa Hills. I am the Senior Customer Success Manager here at buywith, and I've been managing this partnership with this team, buywith and Lenovo, from day one.
Amazing. So let's dive straight in. Jen, can you share what inspired you guys to invest in video commerce and how it impacted your e-commerce strategy as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. So we knew we needed to find a partner that was the right fit. And since we had never done live shopping before or live selling, we were so new. And so we knew that we needed to find a partner that could help us get to that next step and who knew what they were doing to help us bridge that gap. And so we did extensive research finding that partner. And so what we were looking for was someone to help us get that authentic experience to our customers through live shopping, that would give us a really fluid process that would really come alongside us with their expertise so that we were able to show our products and do what we do best, and they would support us in that. We also loved that buywith allowed us to show the live stream on our website. So as the customers were getting to know our products, they also could get to know how to shop our website. They would understand how to navigate things. And then also just the technology is incredible. So couldn't have asked for a better partner, and we're excited to see where things go from here.
Thank you. But why video? Why is that so crucial in today's fast-pacing e-commerce landscape? Jessica, maybe you want to take this one.
Yeah, so we all see what is happening across all social media platforms with the very we've seen the progression from Facebook and having our just text feeds to Instagram, where they then just had pictures, and now they were slowly introducing video, and now with TikTok, video is where it's at. People want to talk to and engage with who is on the other side of the camera, and we see the value in that, and we definitely know that video is what is going to drive that authenticity in terms of what you're trying to do overall.
Amazing. Live events require some careful planning. Obviously, there's timing to figure out which products to show, how to promote the event. Jessica, if you can share what key elements make your video commerce strategy successful, both for the live itself and the promotion and everything around it. And also, Carissa, obviously Carissa has been working with some of our top clients for the last 3 years already. So if you want to add from your experience as well. But let's start with Jessica.
Yeah, this has definitely been a complete learning experience because, like Jen said, this is not something that Lenovo, especially in North America, has ever really done in terms of talking and directly engaging with the audience in real time in a shopping kind of experience. I had the grand idea of let's just try hosting it internally and see what happens. And I became the host, and I absolutely love it. But then it was trying to figure out what products to show and seeing what was selling, but what might need help to be pushed, but also what was on promotion. And there's a balance because we have so many products, but you're wanting to, yes, showcase what is like our top products and showing them that ThinkPad X1 Carbon and the Yoga 7i 2-in-1. Those are our top products, and people want to be able to see them. But then it's also that balance of, hey, did you know that we also sold this, or we also do that? So trying to find that balance between educating and selling what was already going to sell. It's a whole thing. And then in terms of promoting, we've been doing this for a year now, Carissa. And it is still a learning process because we keep trying new things and we see what sticks and we see what isn't working, and we know what's working. We know what tactics really truly drive the best viewership. But how do we expand past that? Because we don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We do want to reach out and find new ways to engage with the audience. But the tricky part is the balance of promoting a program that will eventually drive revenue, but in order to promote it, we're taking away visibility for things that will instantly drive revenue. So, working with my leadership team and trying to explain to them the benefits of like investing more visibility into this program. And so far it's getting better. It's getting easier to show, hey, if we do this, it really is going to benefit us. And while yes, revenue, it's e-commerce, it's always the main KPI. But for me, like I want to see the audience there. I want to see the engagement. I want to see people asking questions about the product and actually wanting to learn. Because again, we have like 15,000 products. So it's good to see people asking questions and being excited about what we have to show.
So
Yeah,
you're
definitely. I
talking a
think,
lot about also the balance between like trying to balance immediate return versus long-term goals as well. And yeah, Carissa, I think Jessica mentioned that they haven't done this before. It's the first time, but this is in fact the same situation with all of the clients that you're working with, right?
yeah, definitely. And I think the main thing here is it's ever changing, and it's never going to be a one size fits all situation, whether that be timing, how many products you're showing, what type of promotion you're doing. I think the one thing that Jessica and I have continued to realize is that this is always going to be changing. So whether that's, the time of day, a morning works really well for maybe a holiday or Memorial Day or Black Friday, but like an afternoon on a different day works really well, as these things are constantly changing and you have to be open to that as well. And I think we've done a good job at kind of ebbing and flowing as things continue to change.
Every time we think we have a process set, something happens and we're like, no, we have to completely rethink that now, and try something different. So you got to be able to pivot and move, which isn't always easy when you work for a large corporation.
No, every time you think you've got it figured out, we're just on to the next thing. But on that same note, kind of in the same vein of that, higher ticket tech products obviously need more education than a consumable product like beauty or fashion, for instance. How is video commerce? How are we overcoming those purchase barriers of such a higher ticket, maybe an item that requires a lot more thought to purchase?
Yeah, I think we were chatting about this earlier because I think this is super relevant. Like we were very interested in buywith for this specific reason. Obviously, Lenovo PC company, we have a higher AOV product. So, for instance, if I'm shopping for a pair of jeans, it may be the day of. I need a new pair of jeans. I go, I click, I buy the pair of jeans. But for products like ours that are more expensive, customers have long buying cycles. They tend to do more research. They gather more information. It takes them a while to get down the funnel. And so with buywith, it's nice because they can actually see the products. They're able to kind of engage with the products. They can ask their questions in real time. It just helps move down the funnel a bit quicker. It helps them gather that research. It shortens that buying cycle a little bit to be able to engage and see their products in someone else's hands. I think being able to engage and see the features too of specific machines that might be missed in a product description on the website, as well as, of course, the question and answer portion is huge. Being able to get that information from a product expert right away during the live session definitely helps our customers feel more confident when they are buying a several $100 or $1,000 laptop, versus a product like a $5 lipstick where they may go on the website and just click it immediately. So for higher AOV products, I think buywith is really honestly the answer, in the sense that you can see the products and it does shorten that buying cycle that we typically see with our products.
Yeah, definitely. I think the live aspect of it, we get so many more interesting and niche questions in the chat since we have a lot of like gamers that are joining. The gaming community obviously is huge with Lenovo. We have all these big gamers and tech junkies that are joining, and they're asking such niche questions that maybe they are on the website, but they're not, one of the first things you're seeing. And we're able to answer those in real time, which I think is really cool. And I think while we are seeing sales, the day of the event and in the coming days after the event, we are also still tracking, for 2 weeks, 30 days down the line when people still have these things at the front of their mind and they're continuing to buy in the weeks coming. And on that note too is we have the VOD page that lives on the Lenovo website, which is housing all of the content, all of the lives that we've done so that people continue to go back, watch these lives and purchase from the content that we have.
I think, Carissa, maybe we can also share the VOD page so that people on the webinar can see it and get some inspiration from that, because I think that's a really important point. Live shopping is traditionally seen as very compatible with categories like beauty and fashion. And there are not a lot of examples of consumer electronic brands out there that are doing it. So I think Lenovo's case here is pretty unique. And I think that the fact that there is an option for continuation, that it's not just about the live event itself, because when you're buying, a computer or some hardware, that sometimes it's not a spontaneous decision, and sometimes you need extra time to just digest all the information, and maybe you want to rewatch some of the content. So I think having that VOD page where people can go and they can continue exploring the content, even during the days and the weeks after the original live event, is a crucial part of the experience.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's been really nice to see that we do get engagement with the VOD, and we get both registrations and views from the VOD, which is awesome from like to see it, because currently the program isn't easily found on Lenovo.com, and that is one of those things where we're trying to, fight for more visibility there, because people do, like to what Jen was saying, like these with the high ticket items, people really want to see what the products do. And when you go to those product pages on the website, it can be a bit overwhelming in an overload of information. I know that like I'm not going to sit there and read all the content and figure out like, okay, how many like what's the camera on this tab, or what are the speakers like, or what's the cooling system inside of this gaming laptop. But if I know a gaming event is coming up, and then like Ben just did our last one and he is able to talk you through all the products, that really helps explain, oh, why should I get a Legion Pro 5 versus a Legion Pro 7? Because we don't have a lot of that on the site right now. And again, with the 15,000 products, what is the difference between the different series within the different families, within the different categories? Because it keeps going and going and going on the site.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
us simple people, those numbers on the product name don't necessarily mean a lot, but it's always
Right.
good to have an expert. And by the way, on that sense, Jessica, when we started the program, you were leading most of the events yourself, and then you started adding other product experts from the company, and then lately you also started adding outside content creators to help facilitate some of the sessions. Can you elaborate on the differences between having an in-house expert lead those sessions versus an outside content creator? What are the benefits for each, and how is the synergy between those two different strategies?
Yeah. So when you have somebody who's internal hosting, and hopefully that internal person does have not just the personality, but also the like education about the products to go with it, which apparently I knew way more about the products than I thought I knew. And so having somebody there internally that is that product expert that can speak to more of the granular technical pieces and answer those niche questions, it's the audience likes it because they can ask those more granular questions than they could a different host. And then I'm not an influencer. I know some of my other counterparts, they do like they have small well, not small. Veronica actually has a pretty big following. But they have an audience that they're trying to bring in as well. And that was the benefit of bringing in the influencer creator host, is because we're bringing in not just people that already know Lenovo that are signing up for the Lenovo Lives and such. They're bringing in their audience who might not know Lenovo. So it is adding to our reach of who might not have considered our products before. And from there, it is like they don't have as much knowledge. So I do moderate those. And then my operations specialist, Holly, also moderates those. And we are trying to answer those niche questions as quickly as we can as the moderator in chat so that the host can keep focusing on why they selected that product to show and why they liked it. So while the internal person has the education and can talk more broadly about multiple products that they might not be using in their real lives, the influencer hosts can actually like, I selected to talk about this product because I like it for XYZ. Because I like to try to have a combination of that. As you can see behind me, maybe I've got lots of products at this point. And so I do use a lot of it in my life, but not as many internal people have as much in their home office as I do. And I think that's lucky for them because
And we love your home office. It's the
I do love
background
my home
of all of
office.
her streams, so everyone has come to know it. I think on that note too is while there's, different benefits to a creator versus an in-house expert, there's also a lot of similarities to the purpose of both of them, I guess. And one of those is it's kind of become its own community. We get to see now that there are the same people on every live. And I know that Jessica can see these people that are attending week after week and have gotten to know her, where, someone like Flex, who's a streamer who's been going live as a creator, she brings in her whole streaming community. And of course, that's an existing community. But Jessica herself has kind of built this community and people have come to expect her and know her personality, which is really cool to see that these people come back not only to shop and just to hang out though as well, and to see what's new and what's going on. So it's very cool.
Now I just need them to follow me on the socials so that I can like start monetizing other places because I can't monetize it. No.
Well, you can always add it as a call to action,
I try. I'm like, follow me on the social, but then there's having to decide on which socials to have them follow. So, because I'm not an influencer. So if you are trying to look into this and host internally, do keep in mind that you will be putting a social handle attached to this because this is a social selling, and trying to make that decision between what social handle to use. So
yeah, get your social prepared just before, and make sure that you're also engaging there because people might be expecting, asking questions and expecting you to engage even between the live events. So I think that's a fair point. I mean, live shopping is obviously a part of social commerce, and whether those lives are happening on the actual social platforms or on your website like you do with buywith. And by the way, some of those sessions are streamed into social media platforms as well, and it's possible to stream at the same time to multiple social media platforms. So this is definitely a social experience. This is why people come in, they're part of a group, they can ask questions. And sometimes, even when I'm shopping, and even if I'm looking for a new computer or whatever it may be, I don't always know which questions to ask. So having the experience of being at a live event with other people who might be more knowledgeable than me and might be able to know the right questions to ask, that's very helpful for me as a consumer as well. And that could also inspire me to think about things that I didn't think about before, before starting my process. So I think this is part of the charm of social commerce. Well, Jen, back to you. If you can maybe share a little bit about how are you guys measuring success with this program and also how video commerce impacted your customer retention, repeat purchases, or engagement with your community overall?
Yeah, definitely. And Jessica, feel free to tag in here because I know that this is a lot of what you've been doing over the last couple months, almost a year now. But
Almost a
yeah,
year.
definitely we've seen a lot of success over the last year. Jessica, I don't know if you want to quantify some of that. I know we were talking earlier about all of the success looking back because I believe we launched in August of last year.
We launched, I was working on a
Almost a year.
spreadsheet
Is it
this
the
Almost our
14th?
morning.
year. Yeah,
August,
1 year
yeah,
anniversary.
August 14th was the very first
Can't believe it.
event that we ever did. Um, and our because we were talking right before this, and when we launched this, we didn't necessarily set strict KPIs. We want to see this much revenue. We want to see this many viewers coming per event, so on and so forth. So it has kind of been a let's see what happens. And as long as we're doing well, we will continue it. And we have exceeded expectations. We have done very well because, of course, again, it's e-commerce. The main point is always to drive revenue. And so that has exceeded everybody's expectations on what we would do in the first year with this being brand new, with this being something that we're trying to feel out and figure out the bumps and the roadblocks and the little hiccups that happen. And we've had quite a few of those along the way, and we just keep chugging along and pivoting where we need to pivot because again, e-commerce, it's nonstop. It doesn't stop. It's I was hosting
Seven.
I've been hosting I was hosting two of these a month from August until April. And it's a lot because this wasn't my full-time job. I still had my actual full-time job on top of this. And that in of itself keeps growing and expanding. So we were doing a lot. We were moving and grooving. Carissa stayed on top of me with when we needed to get some things done, and it was great. In terms of like retention, like Carissa had said, we are seeing repeat people come into the lives, and they aren't just people from my real life. They aren't people that I talk to on a regular basis. There are people that I only talk to in the lives, which has been really, really great to see. And it does feel like its own little community. So I am still hosting one a month, and that because I don't want to give up hosting. I've made that very clear to my entire leadership team. Like, I enjoy it. Like, yes, this program is my baby, but I honestly really do enjoy it. And I do feel like over the year I have built that following in that community of people that look forward to me, just like when Ben did the gaming one. Because so Ben is our senior community manager, and he hosts Twitch streams and everything on the gaming community. So like he had his own little community coming and following him there. And I feel like I'm tapping into that in a non-Twitch way, which is really great. And so yeah, it's just been really, really great to see it grow and how far we've come in a year, which
Yeah,
is just
a year.
wild. We needed to set a big
Can you
anniversary
imagine?
stream.
What I
Jessica,
will, oh, go
did you,
ahead.
yeah, did you imagine that you'll, enjoy, hosting and being kind of the face of those live events as much as you do?
Yeah, no, I think well, and I think that's why it got brought to me. Essentially, because I know Jen and her team were like once they decided, okay, they have found the partner that they want in order to do this, and then they were trying to figure out who could be the person that could take it and run with it. I am not a quiet or shy individual. So I think everybody knew that I would be somebody that could run with it fairly easy. I mean, I assume, Jen, just based on what I've been told, that it was pretty. I
Yes,
don't know who
you
else.
were targeted for sure.
I don't know who else could have taken it on our side and ran with it from like hosting it and executing it in the
Yeah.
same like same time.
Yeah,
But I
I think that is true. I mean, I do think that there is value in having influencers and employees. Like, I think that split is really helpful. And I think having a product expert as you, as the employee, for the first half of our program, more than a half, really kind of cemented our success. Like, I think if we would have done it the other way, I think there's a good mix, but I think having a product expert right from the start really helped us. So that's, I mean, definitely something to consider when you're launching your program, especially if it's brand new for you.
yeah, and I actually I'd always wanted to start streaming, but the doing the Lenovo live, excuse me, doing the Lenovo lives kind of, made me like, okay, let's do this. Like, let's set up the Twitch channel and let's stream. And I do that, still do that. I was doing it last night and everything. So it has kind of gotten me to do it more. But I have a BA in theater, so my background does not match my job. But being on screen, yeah, no, that tracks. That tracks.
And we love it. Our weeklies and our touch faces are the best. They're so
It's
much
never a dull moment, that's for
fun. Never
sure.
a dull moment.
I'm sure
We
that you also celebrated your birthday live.
Yeah,
I
we
did.
did.
I did do a birthday stream,
Fun.
and it was my 40th birthday, and I had balloons, I had my little hat, and what really excited me about that one was that we didn't have a ton of pre-promotion or anything of that nature, and it was a really big event. A lot of people showed up to it, and so that made me feel really, really good because I was like, oh, okay, so people do want to celebrate with me. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And people still like when they're scrolling through the VODs, like people internally, they'll be like, you're doing a birthday one? I was like, yeah, why not? Like it was
They're still celebrating your birthday.
right, exactly.
And it might have been the biggest birthday party ever, honestly.
I'll take it. I'll run with that. We'll say that. Can we put that in the deck for, later? Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. And it's not something that I shied away from because we have done them at different times. We did one the day after Christmas, and that was specifically for Canada for Boxing Day. And there wasn't a question in my mind about doing it because what I was going to be at home relaxing. Actually, I wasn't at home. I did it live from my husband's childhood bedroom because I was at my in-laws' house. And I leaned into that and I played into that. And so it has been fun, and it has been like its own little influencer life. At least that's what I keep telling myself.
We love
Well,
it.
talk,
Totally.
talk about work-life balance, right?
Yeah. My son has even made an appearance in one of them before.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. It was especially fun watching my husband come in. So my doors are that way, and he's coming in crawling on the floor, and I'm like, "What are you doing? They can't see you right now. The camera's pointed this way. Like, you can just walk in." But the kids know that I do it. The kids know when to be quiet so that I can do it. It doesn't always work that way, but yeah, it's just you just roll with it, and you just bring them in, let them sit on your lap and just keep going. So
Exactly. I mean, I told my kids to stay out of the room while we're doing this webinar now, but if one of them comes in, then they come in. I mean, I think that's something we learned during COVID that,
yeah,
people sometimes work from home, there are kids, there are dogs, and, everything's fine.
yeah,
We're all humans. And I think
everybody's living
a
their
lot
life.
of, yeah, I think a lot of the success you guys are seeing is because of that you're, taking it as a fun exercise, that it's, as long as it's something that you're enjoying to do, whether it's in-house or with an influencer, it has to be, I mean, if it's fun, then people that are joining will have fun watching, and they'll be more in the mood for shopping, and
Right.
everyone will benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More genuine.
It's very genuine because even our influencers who do like streaming full time, we all have tech issues. And I think like the audience seeing that we all have tech issues. Sometimes all of a sudden the camera goes out, or your internet that is a very strong signal just drops, and you just have to roll with it and keep going, and not let it get you too flustered. I know that was something I had to overcome because I wanted it to be perfect, but then it got to the point where like whatever happens, happens. I'll just keep talking. Hopefully you guys can see me. If not, catch the like replay after. I don't like because you can't just give up in the middle of it. You just have to keep
No,
going.
not an option.
Not an option.
I
Talking
think that,
about,
yeah, talking about making it perfect, I think Carissa, that's something you're handling a lot with customers, especially corporate clients that are coming from the US and Europe, and they want everything to be perfect. And the whole point about live event is keeping it authentic. And we don't normally recommend writing a script and really, reading from a script, but really, having the I mean, Carissa, what are your tips for really succeeding with live shopping?
yeah, definitely. I think that there are, benefits in more produced, and we have, clients that work with a more produced background and space, and it's a little bit more formal. But I think just like what we were talking about, being more genuine and real. A lot of times we just have influencers going live on their phone from their phone camera, and they're in their bedroom in front of their makeup desk, and they're just putting on products because that conversational aspect and that type of content is really what's popular now. People are short form content. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and it's more real. They want to feel like it's almost an extension of COVID, right? Like everyone's just live and being real from their homes. So I think that we've done a good job at having a balance of that as well. And Jessica does have she always has her background. She has a nice camera. We've done like Ben, who went live. He has a really awesome gaming setup. And we've also had, an influencer just live on their phone. So I don't think it's a one size fits all, but I think it's really cool to see that balance. Yeah. We can.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions already in the chat. I want to ask one last question before we take questions from the audience. Carissa, is there something you wanted to add before?
Oh, no, you're good. I was going to just go on to the next one as well.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, so just as a final question, so obviously video is incredibly valuable in different channels. It could be valuable in retail media, paid media, PDPs. So I wanted to ask both Jen and Jessica, beyond live shopping, what other video commerce innovations is Lenovo exploring, and how are you planning to reuse the content from those live events for other channels as well?
Yeah, I can tackle this first, and then Jessica, feel free to interject. But we know the value of video. I think this experiment, I will say, that's turned very successful, has proven that video works. And video, especially in such a genuine format, works as well. One thing specifically that we're doing now with video is within our ratings and review program on the web. When you scroll down to our ratings and review, you can actually see some UGC content sourced with video. So not exactly what we do with buywith, but similar in the sense of you're getting someone who's reviewing a product and they're showing a video of the product. They're kind of showing it off and then they're rating it so that you can actually see, okay, this PC does this and I like this about it, and here's what it looks like. And so really incorporating video into our ratings and review program, we've seen a lot of success with. And then, additionally, we're always looking for ways we can increase our video content with our customers. So, things with AI, we're using video to increase customer engagement that way across media, and really just diving into video because we know it works. And I honestly think buywith was the start of us realizing that we can do more with video and that video is really attractive to our customers, especially like we mentioned before with the high price point items that we sell. So.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where we want to continue expanding and growing. I like having the video and the like unpolished video from Lenovo Live has definitely shown more of the like what it can do and how we can start to build strategies around it. So while we're not executing anything currently, like we're trying to figure out how to execute that and where the best places for us to be able to utilize this unpolished content would be, because we do have lots of video across the site, but they are more of our, brand, very polished marketing material type videos on the site. So with the reviews that Jen had mentioned and what we're doing with Lenovo Live, how can we weave that into the customer story to give them not the like shiny polished version of a video, but like real people showing them using the product, or like real people talking about why they like the product, because that is key. We all crave human interaction, especially in such a digital age. We want that peer-to-peer like reinforcement that yes, this is a good product, yes, this is what you should be buying. We all know that we like scroll through the Amazon reviews and it can be like have 4.5 stars, but those first 3 reviews are like 2 stars and you're like, next. Like you go and you find something else, because those negative reviews and negative feedback, like even though it has 4.5 stars out of 15,000 reviews, oh, those 2 negatives, they must be the ones that are right. So we know the value in that and trying to bring in those real communications about why something might not be good, or even more so why it is good.
Yeah, I think it's important to note too that this is content that, brands are paying UGC creators to create this content.
Right.
And this is content that we have sitting and existing, and it's here for you guys to utilize. So why not use it?
We're trying. That's one of those growing pains of, again, trying to show the value of using and utilizing the snips. And it is not just for selfish purposes of trying to grow my own brand. Absolutely not. It's just the value of, having that more user-generated style content to showcase what we have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. Great. So I think we're just in time to start getting questions from the audience. So we'll start from Kyle, who asked about, so he asked about how is the conversion from live shopping higher compared to your standard product pages or other campaigns? I don't know if that's something that you guys are measuring. And also he's asking, what are you guys considering as the attribution window for someone that views the video and doesn't buy immediately?
Both of those are things that we don't have a concrete answer to. We aren't necessarily tracking the conversion from someone who watched the live to someone that was on the PDP or engaged with campaign content, because we are, it's all kind of one and the same. And we do see that people are, even prior to the event, signing up on the site because they saw the placement on the site, but then they are continuing their shopping journey and things of that nature. So engagement with the like in the lives is really great. Engagement as we have gone on throughout the year with our placements on the site has continued to increase. And with that, I do believe we have seen an increase in conversion. And I think that has to do with the community that we're building and kind of the reputation to go along with it. And then the attribution window, that's actually a good question. Because,
I could say,
yeah.
Just in general, like across the live commerce space, a solid answer is usually just around 30 days. Like when we first started, like 3-4 years ago, as live shopping came into the US, we were looking at a shorter amount of time, usually like 2 weeks to maybe around 30 days. But now that we have this content that is evergreen and lasting on these VODs that we have and then being placed on product pages, we aren't necessarily cutting it off. I think we're continuing to see and track purchases way beyond that now. But it does depend on, of course, the program.
And I think it's also important to remember that people don't always make a purchase decision, especially with higher price items based on just one interaction with the brand. So it could be a combination of things. It could be that they got a recommendation from a friend, they came to the website, maybe they've even been to a store, but they needed that kind of like extra education, extra information, which they got on the live event. Or maybe the live event was their first interaction and they started learning about the products, but they needed that extra time to go through reviews, to go on some social pages, and that's fine. And I think one of the most interesting things that we've seen lately is a phenomenon of a lot of people that are purchasing even before the live event started. So they come and they register for the live event, and then they already start buying. So whether it's a result of maybe a previous event that they've attended or some other information that they gather through the website, maybe they're just waiting for the live event to kind of help them strengthen their decision after the purchase. It's very hard, it's all about consumer psychology, and we're not experts. None of us are experts on that, but we do know that there is kind of like an accumulation of different factors that are helping to drive this ongoing engagement and conversions as well. There are, I think, a number of questions in the chat about KPIs, and I think Jessica already mentioned that it's not something that Lenovo had set up from the beginning. But Carissa, maybe you can kind of share from your experience what kind of KPIs does a brand need to take into consideration when it comes to video commerce and also live shopping specifically?
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the main ones we're looking at beyond just conversion, because of course that's important, but that's going to vary drastically based on the product and the space. And I think that engagement rate and the time spent in the live are a good measure of, I guess, like how the user is responding to these things. So typically we're looking at engagement rates anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% and more, which we like to consider as good. Anywhere above that is amazing. And then time inside the live, these lives are usually anywhere from 25 minutes to an hour. I think there's a good hotspot in there of like 30 to 45 minutes that we've seen. But seeing anywhere more than like 12, 13 minutes of someone staying in the live is usually a great amount of time in the live.
Emily is asking if we're also providing some guides on how to bring in and negotiate with influencers, payments, etc. So Emily, we actually have a guide on our website. Maybe Guy can put in the direct link in the chat. We have a guide for working with influencers specifically for live shopping events. So definitely there's a ton of content on our website and blog all about KPIs and measuring success, working with influencers, different types of video commerce. So definitely check it out. And JC is asking, have you considered customer support live videos as a way to decrease cost? I don't know, guys, if that's something you're considering.
Customer support for live videos. So
it's like if someone is looking, JC, you can correct us in the chat if we misunderstood the questions. I don't know if she's still here, but I think she means like one-to-one live support if someone's on the website and they're looking for specific help.
I don't think that that's something that we are currently exploring. I don't deal with the support side of the business. I think there's a balance because, like, yes, decrease cost of like you can go here, but for instance, we don't have a chat bot on our site. We have like the chat window, and then it gives you to a real person because we all know the value in talking to an actual person to help get you where you need to go. But actually having them utilize snippets as a way if somebody has issues with something, because we're not really troubleshooting issues with when we're when we're in the live. I don't think that they could utilize what we currently have. So that would be a whole new avenue to take.
It's a whole new avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole new avenue. That's also something that
I just
Buywith is offering. But yeah, go ahead, Jay-Z.
we just bought a Tesla, so in that like very expensive purchase and like months of debating and asking questions, right? Then they just give you the app and it kind of drops you into like
Mm.
tons of video content that's not custom, and there's still so many questions and ways to upsell and get excited in the community. So I was just thinking of that like drop off where you're like super excited and then like no one pays attention to you
Right,
anymore.
right.
So
So definitely, regardless of Lenovo's plans, I will say that one-to-one live shopping or live support, this is something that's gaining a little bit of momentum. That's something that Buywith is actually offering, and we are starting to see an increase in demand for those kind of products, but it's still not mainstream in the industry. But I do see in the I do think in the coming years we will see more companies utilizing it, but it's still in early days, I would say. Um, and last question in the chat, unless someone wants to plug in some last moment question. I see some questions around multi-streaming to social media. Um, so um, so yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe Carissa, if you want to take this and explain how that works and what are the
Yeah,
benefits.
definitely. So we do offer multicasting through buywith, and a lot of it's basically like going live on Instagram, but buywith is its own platform. So we want to be able to share in multiple places. We do have the option to multicast. So you use a stream ID. It's super simple, and you're able to put that in on the buywith platform and basically simulcast to TikTok, to YouTube, to Instagram, to Facebook. And that way you're capturing those audiences that maybe for some reason weren't notified, didn't see the promotion, and then gaining more customers from there. Cool.
Great. Well,
Any other questions?
I don't see anything else in the chat today, but obviously, guys, if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us, to Jen, to Jessica. We'll be very, very happy to answer. You can also, if you're looking into live shopping or video commerce, feel free to jump off to our website and request a free demo of the solution. It never hurts to see how it works and then make your own decision. So we'll be happy to answer any questions. And yeah, I think it's time to wrap up, ladies. It's been so much fun. And if there's one takeaway that I'm taking from this webinar is that video commerce has to be fun. Because it's unlike written content, it's really video. So if you're, if you're having fun, whoever's watching the video will also have fun. And I had fun today. What about you guys?
This was
Yeah,
great. This was
thank you so much
wonderful.
for having us.
Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for our intimate group of participants for all of your engagement and questions. And I really hope that you found today's session valuable. So thank you so much for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you all.
everyone.